him for a while. He came back, violated her possibly, and assaulted her again and took her car. I mean, so that warrant in the of his worries right now. The felony evading right now is going to be the problem he's going to face, plus the assault that occurred tonight, as well as carjacking, is what we're hearing too. So it's just a matter of time now, just following CHP, following their procedures, following them northbound on the 5 freeway here through the commerce area as we get a little further north. And like I said, they'll just continue to hand off. So probably right now, East LA CHP is handling the pursuit with the LA County Sheriff's helicopter overhead coordinating. So it's just a matter of time before he makes a move and disables his own car or gets off the freeway and goes to foot. So it's just a matter of time, just watching to see how this thing will turn out.
Although we do know every once in a while they do get away, and we have seen that here on Fox 11.
But they know where to find him. Know where to find him.
It would be much easier to find somebody in this situation, as you pointed out. And you wonder if this person has a history with the law before this, and that may be part of the reason for this warrant. It is very easy to guess. We don't know this before, but a well-educated guess that you would think that Valentine's Day had something to do with this incident as well. Incidents that we're watching this on the night of Valentine's Day, which often gets people all riled up in all different ways. And now we believe this was a domestic violence incident where a male suspect, girlfriend, stole her car, got in the car, took off, first beginning a chase in the Riverside area, and we're now in the Southgate part of East Los Angeles on the I-5 North, moving real fast on the freeways, which are mostly open, although we do see some cars out late on this Valentine's Day Wednesday night.
Yeah, they're going to be coming up to 710 here, so we'll see what happens when it gets to that point. But, you know, from my 30-plus years of law enforcement experience dealing with people like this, this is probably not his first rodeo, or his or her sports rodeo. And the thing is that once you get to this point, you know, it's I just trying to get away, trying to delay the inevitable going to jail. And everybody who ran from me always thought that they could get away and stayed with it until either, like I said, they disabled their own car, we were able to pit them, or they got out on foot and we were able to find them in the search. But unknown on with him and his mindset of mind, he knows he's wanted for the assault that he occurred tonight, and also possibly for that warrant you're talking about earlier. But you know, it's just a matter of time. Just the officers have to use their training and experience to stay with the car close enough to be able to take care of things when it comes to an end, but then not overdriving themselves and getting themselves into trouble with the other motoring public here. So now you see it kind of squeezing down as we're coming up north on the 5 freeway. That split at the East LA interchange, where he'll be able to go to the 101, the 5, or the 10. So there's a big interchange coming up here as he continues up through the Indiana area of East.
Tim, as Alex was saying, we have seen a suspect or two get away. Is this different, though, and they probably know who this driver is? If it's a domestic violence matter and they're talking to the girlfriend, they probably have a who he is, where he lives, and what his phone number is. So even if one were to get away on a night like tonight, they know who he is. A lot of times we have pursuits, we don't know who they are.
Correct, yeah. That's the one thing with pursuits. You don't know why they're running half the time. You know, they're just, you get behind them for a speed violation, red light violation, you turn on your emergency lights, and they take off, and you have no idea why they're running, because they're drunk. Did they just rob somebody? Is there a kidnap victim in the car? You know, if it's a stolen car, that type stuff, and you have to think about that during the whole pursuit. And the one deal to know now that if you have a in this vehicle, at what point does the watch commander decide that, you know what, we're going to stop chasing him, go by way of complaint, find them on another warrant, and arrest them in a more controlled opportunity, like at their home or someplace else where they could track them down. But you see, we're coming into East LA interchange now. It looks like he's taking the 5 here, from what I can remember. That's the 101 down to the left as we come through here. And it'll get down to 2 lanes at this point as he sweeps around and picks up that northbound the run of the the 5. So, like I said, it can go both ways. They can stay with him until he comes to a stop on his own, or they can go ahead and back off the pursuit and go by way of complaint. So it's up to the watch commander. As always, used with the bars and the stars on their collars, they're the ones making and the beat cop is just doing his job to stay with him until told to do otherwise. But right now, it's not a very dangerous pursuit. He's not that high speed, traffic that fast. Tends to be holding a lane and just using lane changes to get around slower vehicles. But squeezing through this area right here, he'll cross over that line, and now he's on the 5 freeway, and then further up here, he'll go east on the 10. So it's that little slot there where the 101 and 5 are. And as it works its way up here, it'll open up, continue on up past Dodger Stadium, and then we'll have to see where he goes from there.
So as we approach 10:30, you are watching the Fox 11 News at 10 o'clock. I'm Alex Michelson with Christine Devine. On the phone with us is Tim Lynn, a police veteran and also a veteran of years of coverage as well, who has covered these from both a participant and a reporter. We are watching this pursuit, which we believe began in the Inland Empire, in the Riverside area, with a domestic violence suspect assaulting his girl on Valentine's Day and then stealing her car. We believe there is a warrant out for his arrest that may have been before this. We do not know his history with law enforcement. We don't know exactly where she is. We do know that this pursuit, which started a long ways away in the Lincoln Heights area as we approach downtown Los Angeles on wide open freeways at 10 o'clock at night, Christine. And this person could go for a while.
Yeah, you know, it's a small car, probably could go a long ways on a full tank of gas. We don't know if that's the state of this car, this vehicle. Tim, you know, we talk so much about suspects going back to an area that is comfortable to them, a neighborhood in which they know, perhaps even pulling into their own driveway from time to time. This suspect, very far from where this pursuit started, Riverside, now in Lincoln Heights. Do you get a sense from the way this person is driving that this person knows where they are, knows where they're going, or do you sense that they're just driving?
Well, you know, at this point, it's anybody's guess. I mean, it's the old thing when I used to fly, the tower would ask me, you know, I'd tell them I'm in pursuit. They'd say, well, where are you going? I said, we knew that. We wouldn't have to chase them.
Right.
But it continuing on, you know, it's just a matter, you don't know. And like I said, they're gaining information on the driver, trying to figure out where he's from, where he's going. And if they do get a phone request for him from the girlfriend, they'll call ahead to the local agency to stage at his area, at his house. And if he's heading that direction, then they can use that information to you know, pick up on him as he comes off the freeway. But as he continues north, you know, it looks like he's pretty well set to go northbound here and not showing any indication to get off.
Well, here's an interesting twist. We are getting word that there is another pursuit that is happening right now in the downtown Los Angeles area. So it is possible that both of these pursuits could run into each other, which would be something, and very LA on this Valentine's. As we approach the 5, we think of where he's near Dodger Stadium at this point, which obviously does not have any baseball games happening yet. The Dodgers out at spring training in Arizona. That was supposed to be one of the stories we were supposed to be talking about right now with Shohei Ohtani and the rest. Instead, we are continuing to follow this pursuit and watch where this guy goes. And it would be something, Christine, if the second pursuit came nearby.
I'm thinking, say it isn't so. But I got to tell you, and Tim, as I'm watching this pursuit here, thinking of what went down with this pursuit, a domestic violence matter, stolen car, possible carjacking, I'm thinking of the victim case. This is Valentine's Day. It's supposed to be celebratory, enjoyed, love, coming together. And then you have a situation like this. I'm reminded of domestic violence being a very real.
Oh, it is. It is one of the most dangerous calls a police officer is sent on. I mean, because you have very heated tempers. You have two people very passionate about their cause, and people people who will turn on you in a heartbeat. So it's just a very dangerous thing for officers to handle these type of calls. And then when it gets to the level here where he's, allegedly assaulted his girlfriend, taken her car by force, and because they're calling it a carjacking as well. So, what the level that this person has taken it to has shown the propensity for violence. And like you said, there's a warrant in the system for him already. What was that warrant for? And was he on a restraining order? Has he had domestic violence cases with the same female in the past? But, right now, the thought in these officers' minds who are chasing him is drive safely, stay behind him, keep an eye on him, and keep tabs on it. And the watch commander is watching to make sure that it's not getting out of hand. And so right now it's been pretty sedate. But when this thing comes to an end, that's where everything changes. That's where you have to be, at level 10 when you get out of your car, because you don't know what's going to happen when this person gets out of their car. Is he armed? Is he going to charge you? Is he going to just be passive? Or is he just going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight at the end of this? You just don't know what you're going to get at the end of the pursuit. So you have to be completely ready for anything, and the pursuit suspect dictates how this pursuit will end.
So we're now in the city of Glendale as we continue to move on the 5 freeway. Tim, since the driver is really not, frankly, all that dangerous compared to some of the pursuit drivers we see, from a law enforcement perspective, do you basically just say, okay, you don't need to be as aggressive?
Yes, and especially with the helicopter overhead, helping you keep track. So the responsibility is not on that first officer to keep contact with the car. So he can even back off more than what we're at now and let the air unit call it, just be close enough to when it goes to ground. But yeah, you just lay back and just wait them out. The CHP is not going to run out of gas because they're going to switch off from office to office, as I said before. The brought it up into L.A. The L.A. office takes it over. They take it up here. They're going to come into the La Cañada area, the Glendale, Burbank area, which is covered by Jacinto Valley CHP. And so, it's from the CHP out of gas. They're just hoping that they'll either get tired of driving and the car will give up or run out of gas, or the end of this could be a violent crash as he bails off the freeway. So you just never know what's going to happen at the end. So you have to be ready for anything when this thing comes to an end.
I'm thinking of all the law enforcement agencies that you named, and here we are making a change. Is this going to be the 210 freeway or staying on the 5, do you think? The 134?
Yeah, that was the issue with the 4th is 210. If he starts 34, because the 134 is what he's going to hit first. If he takes that back east to the 210, and that'll kind of give us an idea he's going to run back for Riverside. So he's kind of getting off to the right, and this might take him to the eastbound 134 or west 134. So he does when he hits the end of this ramp. And as he comes around, it looks like it's going to pick up the west 134.
Oh, really? Head towards the ocean there.
Yeah.
Okay, so all the different police agencies that you have named in our coverage, Riverside, Ontario, CHP, LA County Sheriff's Department, and all these different jurisdictions in which this vehicle has passed through, and taxpayer dollars tied to this. People might be looking at this thinking, can't you bring this to a stop? Well, you can't do a pit maneuver here, really. You can't do the spike strip. What are the options here? As we've talked about, I guess you let the car run out of gas.
Yeah, basically let him run out of gas. And as far as the taxpayers, and these officers are going to be on the road anyway. Each office they go through, each area, they're going to be there anyway. That pilot and co-pilot in the helicopters, they're going to be flying anyway. So there's a lot of manpower being expended, and you would look at calls for service, but at this point, it's such a slow, or basically a calm pursuit, that they're just keeping the 3 units on it, which doesn't really pull away from the patrol duties of the freeways. The ground units around the freeways are being advised of it, but they're also being advised not to get involved until you're requested. And as a CHP, once they take over pursuit, do not want any local law enforcement involved in that pursuit at all. Not even the originating agency can stay in. So once they take hold of that pursuit, they want everybody else out. Now, the LA County Sheriff's helicopter will stay overhead. The helicopter arrives on scene, and takes over the pursuit from them. But right now, we still looks like we have the LA County ship overhead. I'm checking right now on the radar to see who the helicopter is overhead from the police, but it does look like the sheriff's department is still in the area, but actively not over the pursuit is right now. So probably that sheriff's unit was already up for quite a while on gas, and they didn't get anybody else up there to relieve them. So aircraft over the pursuit. It doesn't look like we have any law enforcement aircraft overhead. So now that primary stay close enough to be able to keep track of this pursuit. So it's it's going to make it a little more difficult for the units on the ground, because they're going to have to pick up the speed and stay with him. If he starts getting back up into that 115-mile-an-hour range, it's going to really make it difficult. But I'm going to keep an eye on the radar here to see if another unit comes in. But more than likely, that LA County Sheriff's helicopter probably ran low on fuel and had to depart to refuel. So the flight time on most helicopters, especially the police helicopter, sheriff's helicopters, is about 3 hours. So had he already been up on patrol, he would have already been into his fuel load. So you can only fly him for so long. So usually they'll call for assistance from other areas, but looks like they didn't have anybody available to come over to assist. But as we continue, you see here it's 134 going through Toluca Lake. That's going to come up on the 170 or 101, 170. Yeah, coming up here pretty quick. So we'll see which way he heads. If he turns north 170, then we're going to get into that.
It looks like we're on the 101. We're moving on to the 101 north here. Which, obviously takes you into the San Fernando Valley, and then the suspect will have the choice not too long from now on whether to get onto the 405 and head more towards the west side of Los Angeles, keep going through the valley. But we're now in the Valley Village area, which is a long way from Riverside, which is where we believe this pursuit started, as this driver continues to just go. I think that's interesting, Tim, your point that the helicopter, I mean, wouldn't there usually be another helicopter sort of ready to take its place? Or the fact that they just let this go?
Yeah, that's unusual. Being a former helicopter police pilot as well, it's usually when you start seeing yourself get down into the lower fuel range, you start asking for help, because there's frequencies that we operate on, and they're able to call out, need help here. I'm down to 20 minutes of fuel left. Somebody else will pop in here, but right now, I don't know. Normally at this point, a LAPD helicopter would have dropped in, or the CHP helicopter that comes out of Fullerton. It should have been there by now. And in fact, I'm not even seeing it as I widen it out to look for it coming in. But right now, it's I don't see it anywhere in the area. All I see overhead now is just media helicopters. So right now, it's just a matter of the ground unit staying with it as it continues on.
Well, freeway here left and a few different directions to go on these different freeways. Noticing in this whole pursuit, the suspect has gotten off onto surface streets. Perhaps the freeway has been so wide open, it's much easier to drive on a wide open freeway and continue to go and go and go. But Tim, noticing that as well, that the suspect never once getting off on surface streets.
Yeah, exactly. And he's also been watching here too. He's been using his turn signals as he makes the lane changes. So, what's going on? You're running from 4 police officers and you're still using your signals. And, people, you don't know what goes to these folks' minds when they're running. And, they're panicked at first. They're denying that, they've done anything wrong. I don't need to stop. And then, or they're just afraid that they don't want to go to jail, and they're just trying to prolong that inevitability. But yeah, we got a lot of freeways. You said there, Christine, it's going to come up to the 405. If he goes north 405, that'll take him up into Van Nuys area. But if he comes back over the hill to the Spoka Pass, and we're back down into the downtown area, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, and through there. So hopefully he stays on the freeway till he runs out of gas, because you're not going to have to deal with that cross traffic. And like I said, he's not going to run the CHP out of gas.
So we're on the 101 freeway now, near Van Nuys Boulevard in the Sherman Oaks area. This is a busy busy on this freeway all the time. We still see people driving at 1042 as we approach one of the busiest freeway interchanges in the world. The 101 405 is pretty imminent here, and there's a lot of choices that this driver is going to have in terms of which way to go and which neighborhood to go in. The driver's been pretty calm and you know, seems to kind of know where he's going. Maybe, who knows? We don't know if there is. We will see in these pursuits that the driver will be in a certain neighborhood and do circles in that neighborhood, trying to get close to their home or their mom's home or something like that. But it looks like we're staying on the 101. Whoa, okay. Just as I was saying that, he made the point, made me look stupid there. So that was the turn to get on the 405, and clearly missed that turn to get on the 405. So now, I've missed that before too, but never acted quite like that. So we are now on the 101 in the Encino area. It'll be see if the driver was trying to get off onto the 405 there for a reason, try to turn around, get off the freeway and move back in the other direction, or if we continue to move through the West San Fernando Valley, Encino, you think of Woodland Hills and some of the other cities that Tarzana, that they will be soon approaching. You also wonder, Christine, if they did any damage to their car with that maneuver that clearly did not look planned.
And the speeds, this is the slowest we have seen this pursuit the entire time, 40 miles per hour. So when you talk about, is this car perhaps disabled in some way, it very well may be. And on this.
Yeah, I think what he did there is try to do what we call a ramp dive, to where he'll get, I'm trying to look, see whose night son that is that's on it, but do a ramp dive where they'll, at the last minute, try to zip over and go off the freeway onto another ramp to try to maybe lose a couple off. Here comes a pit, maybe.
Pit maneuver
really
on the freeway.
Here we go,
on the freeway, pit maneuver. Wow, we don't see that very often.
The jam car's got to get up there. Jam car's got to get up there and jam that so you can't move. You see the
look at the
wheel.
Yeah, the wheel is literally off. So you wonder where this person has. So now we're going to have at least temporarily, a freeway closure. And now he's going to drive without a wheel. You can imagine the sparks that are probably going to be flying. You also look at the back bumper where there's now damage because of that pit maneuver. It doesn't happen often, as we said earlier, but it is not impossible to see a pit on the freeway. This is a situation. We had the driver driving around 35, 40, 45 miles an hour. We had a wide open freeway, so sort of a perfect situation to try to. Now we see debris flying off of this car. You think this can't last much longer, Tim?
Well, no, not with that front right wheel off. That's, you know, the front wheel drive that puts the drive to it. So right now he's got a little bit of rubber left on that rim, but eventually that's going to start sparking. Like I said, he did that ramp dive trying to bail off, but he had that raised median that he didn't see until last minute, hit it, came off it, and then slowed way down because his tire is going flat. The left or the right rear may be even flat as well. You have all these CHP officers behind him doing a traffic break. The pit maneuver or pit unit goes up and now has a safe area, no traffic either side. Traffic behind him is pretty much going to get stopped, pulls that pit maneuver, spins him around. And the one thing that should have happened there, the jam car should have come in and jammed him in to where he couldn't move. But, you know, they may have information that we don't. They may have information that he is armed, so that may be why they held their distance on him. So we've seen cars just taken apart during multiple pursuits or multiple pit maneuvers, and dragging bumpers, tearing hoods off, tearing the fenders off, you know, running on all rims. And it just, you know, these guys are pretty motivated to get away at times. But I'm expecting to see some sparks here in about the next 2 or 3 minutes off that rim, because he got the basic tread off, as you saw roll off of it. So once that rim starts hitting the ground, you're going to see the sparks start flying out of the back of this, and he'll lose his ability, the friction on the ground, to be able to move. And then once he slows down, he won't be able to get the car moving again, because the wheel will just spin.
Well, I'm fearful as I watch that tail bumper hanging there by, you know, you know, that comes off, that gets in the way of those officers driving behind him. So they've got to think of extra safety measures right now, I'm thinking, regarding that. But also, you know, you talk about the jam car, why they didn't stop this pursuit altogether. I got to kind of feel for those officers not knowing, does this person, like you said, have a weapon? How dangerous are they? At what lengths do they go to get away? I'm thinking officer safety here.
Talk us through when you say jam car, for people that aren't that familiar with the law enforcement lingo, what would that be? What would that look like?
Well, as the vehicle spins around, most new vehicles now, if and you turn the car around, you start going backwards, the computer recognizes you're going backwards and will shut the car off, turn off the engine. So this is a safety feature that most cars have. And at that point is when the officers and put a car to the front and to the rear of that vehicle to keep it from moving, should he, because he will be able to restart it. He puts it in park, turns the key, it will restart. But like I said, you know, it's the officers there on the ground, and they have to make that split-second decision. They're working with information more than what we have on the desk and, you know, here on the air, to where, you know, there may be information that he is armed. So that's why they stayed back. But the normal procedure is once the pursuit car, the pit car, does a spin, it continues on. The second two follow in and block it so it can't pull away again. So we'll have to see what is the information at the end of this.
And reminded that officers on this particular driver, given that the warrant is for domestic violence and assault on a girlfriend, so they may have a lot of information with a warrant already out for his arrest. They may know exactly who they're dealing with and may know exactly how dangerous this person is.
Yeah, and how much experience he has with law enforcement. Has he been through the prison system? Is he a career criminal? You know, is he a two-striker and he's looking at his third strike, even though that really doesn't. Or I mean, it's just you know, they know a lot more than we do, and they're getting updates all along this pursuit that has been going on. And so they have to work off the information. And, you know, that's where your experienced officers on the ground, you know, go from past practice, past experience, and their training to react quickly to a situation. So not putting themselves in the harm's way. And, you know, it's just a matter of time before this car now gives up, because it's running on rims on one side more than likely. And, you know, and the bumpers, you know, the bumper is not a problem. It's just a piece of plastic, but you're going to start seeing sparks coming off that side anytime, you know, anytime now, because that rubber that's on there can't last this long. So it's just amazing that we're not seeing it now.
So if you're just joining us, we want to show you what just happened a few minutes ago. Live picture, bottom picture is what we just saw. So you see as the driver was trying to move onto the 405 freeway, and that led to a pit maneuver on the freeway a few minutes later, which we don't often see, but sometimes does happen. That's where the law enforcement vehicles spin the vehicle around to try to disable it. Able to make contact, they were able to spin it, but the driver kept going. So let's look at that pit maneuver now. So here's the pit maneuver.
On the freeway.
On the freeway. They stop the driver temporarily. What they don't do is put another vehicle right in front of it, which leaves an opening for that driver to keep going, even though the fact that a wheel came off and the bumper is damaged, and that driver has just continued on. So if you look now, this is a live picture. That driver now moving around 60 miles an hour at its height when this guy was really flying and the car was operating perfectly, this Hyundai Sonata. He was driving over 100 miles an hour, has slowed down some, but we have not, at least yet, from this angle, seen those dramatic sparks, which we expect to see sometime in the next few minutes on the right-hand. That's where the wheel came off.
We should know, we picked up this pursuit around maybe 10, 15-ish. And Tim, you had said this has been going on for about 45 minutes. So now we are at over an hour on this pursuit, and the driver is still going. coming from Riverside now into Woodland Hills on a damaged vehicle. So you have to wonder how much longer this driver can go. And I think we talked about this earlier, Tim. In these cases, you see drivers, they're just going to drive till they try to get away. Drive and drive and drive and drive.
That's right. They just keep going and keep going until they just run out of car. At this point, we're probably going to run out of car, but he's still keeping pretty good. One tire missing, and continuing here north on the 101 is going to take him up there. Now, what might end this pursuit is that road closure a little further north, so we'll see what happens if he continues up. But, you know, it just amazes me. This car is really taking a pretty good licking here and still, you know, flying along. So, yeah, I'm amazed at how well this car is handling. And like I said, we're not seeing the sparks from that rim. You know, we've seen them at points where they drive so far that they grind the rim all the way down to where they're rolling on the brake caliper, and they're grinding
there
it
goes
flat.
the bumper.
I mean,
we just lost the bumper. It's not going to be dragging that along any longer. We've already seen, now he's driving too fast probably for a pit maneuver, which usually you would want to do around 35, 40, 45 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, but you do have this open freeway. Is there any thought that they may try to pit him again because, you know, the freeway is wide open?
Not at these speeds, and you're correct on that, because once you get it up into the 45 to 50 mile an hour range, now it becomes in the class of deadly force, because you're going to launch that car and it's going to go completely out of control, and it's slide to the side, go over the side, roll, things of that sort. Plus, it's very unstable for the pitting unit when he goes up there at those speeds and on. Now he has to fight for control of his car or her car, patrol car, as they come off the pit, and so it is not trained anything above those speeds. So you're advised not to do it, you know, because it's just going to turn out bad for both of you. At this point, I could see with the freeway being slowed down behind him, very little traffic out ahead. I wouldn't doubt to see a spike strip somewhere along the line when they have their little spots. I know a couple of them, and I'm not going to give up where those places are, but I could see spike strips being deployed here to try to take out the rest of the tires. But he's doing a pretty good job of sticking with it with run on 2, maybe 3 tires.
Jim.
We're now in Parkway, Calabasas, in the San Fernando Valley, as we approach my hometown of Agora Hills. When you head towards the Lost Hills exit, the freeway goes down, which is a place where a lot of people speed. We are not that far from the Lost Hills exit, where the sheriffs often hang out and get people for speeding. And that is what we are now approaching, where they're going to be building a bridge for animals to cross over, which we're going to be seeing here soon as we get near Las Virgenes Road and out towards the edge of L.A. County. We're starting to see some sparks as we, approach the L.A. County, Ventura County border, if we get past Agora Hills to Westlake Village.
The question I wrestle with is the speeds. So now we're about 60 miles per hour, which is slow for this pursuit. Might we have another pit maneuver again, give or take? Last one. Why is that driver dropping down to those speeds when he's been going 100 miles per hour at times? The car was not damaged before when the car was able to do that pit maneuver, but you have to wonder why that driver was slowing down in the first place then.
Well, because most of these cars are front-wheel drive, and he's probably ground that right front tire down pretty good to where he's not getting as much traction going to the hilly area here. And so once he's going uphill, it'll slow it down. Once he's going downhill, it'll pick up a little speed. You'll start seeing that. But I'm amazed we're not seeing sparks. And there was a little bit there. But, yeah, if he gets down into the pit range, I guarantee you that lead officer is going to get up there and put another one on him and spin him out, because it's a perfect area to do it. You have no pedestrians or traffic or anything in the way that you might put him into somebody. So yeah, it'll be a pretty good shot here. But right now, after Alec just laid down the gauntlet for the Lost Hills Sheriffs to look for him now. So we'll see. We'll see.
Right there.
That's what I was thinking.
That's the speed trap, everybody. If you just beware if you're driving that 101, be aware of that Lost Hills Sheriff, which has been involved with so many different celebrity cases over the years, is located right there as we near Lost Hills Road there, and now we really see this vehicle starting. Okay, could we see another pit here? We're getting slower. We do have a wide open freeway here, and you wonder if this driver is also going to lose control of this vehicle as we are watching this car essentially fall apart in front of our eyes. Wide open freeway in Agora Hills now as we approach Lost Hills Road. And we are moving forward, and this may be their last opportunity at freedom for some time. And so they are making the most of this last ride. Hard to imagine, Christine, how this person gets out of this in this scenario as the car is literally falling apart and they're basically surrounded in all directions. And
Tim, knowing that there is more damage to the car now, and that the roads are wide open, are you better off driver ride this out, or are you better off trying to do yet another pit maneuver should we get these speeds down in the 40s again?
Well, if he gets down into the 40s, 35, 30 range, they will pit him. There's no doubt, Mike. I see just the action of that pursuing primary unit. He keeps getting a little closer. And so, yeah, it's just laying him wait for when he starts a hill here, because he's going to go up a little further here, and you're going to get another climb coming up, through the Thousand Oaks area. There's a couple good hills there getting into there towards the 23. They'll slow him down, and they will do a pit if he gets down to the proper speed.
All right, so as we wrap up our coverage here on Fox 11 at 10 o'clock, we begin our coverage momentarily on our Good Night LA show with Marla Tejas, which begins at the top of the hour. We will be bringing in our audience on Channel 13, which is also set to join us. Apparently the signal is so excited about Good Night LA. It's waiting to be a part of this show.
On cue.
There we go.
There we go.
We will be joining our audience from Channel 13 as well. So Marla Tejas, now take it away. It's yours.
All right, Alex and Christine and Tim Lynn, we appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. If joining us at the top of the hour on Channel 11 at 11 o'clock or on our sister station Fox 11 Plus. You're looking live along with us here with Sky Fox over this pursuit that has been going on for over an hour. We picked this up about 10:15 tonight. CHP now the lead agency. This started in Riverside and it is now in the Agora Hills area on 101, and we have seen sparks fly. We've seen an attempted pit maneuver, which was beautifully executed on the 101 just about 15 minutes ago. That resulted in a spin out of this vehicle and significant damage. The bumper is gone. One tire is gone. Tim Lynn, you have been watching this along with us, and you're just surprised that we haven't seen more sparks fly given the damage that was done by that pit maneuver.
Yeah, he tried to make a quick maneuver right as he approached the 405 freeway and hit a right-hand shoulder. Here he comes to pit. Left-hand
Pit
side,
number
taking him
two,
around.
another pit. There we go. So now we'll see what happens now, and now completely.
There's the jam
and
car.
from the front too.
Get up.
And this, by the way,
another car will come up closer.
Yep.
And there you go.
Officers out, guns drawn, and going straight and aggressive work here by the officers. They get that suspect out. This, by the way, is a domestic violence suspect in a stolen vehicle, alleged stolen vehicle. That driver now out on the ground. Officers have him surrounded. It's not going to be long until this person is put into handcuffs. Obviously, they're going to want to check to see, as now Sky Fox has a clear view inside this vehicle, a Hyundai Sonata. There we are, seeing the T-shirt, hood on, jeans, tennies, and they're putting up against the vehicle here, this black and white. This is on Canaan Road in Agoran Hills, right on the 101, right there, though, at Canaan Hills. And, Tim, this is the typical protocol that we see every time when a suspect's taken into custody.
Right. They were very quick to do that pit. The pit car went straight through. The two jam cars came in and blocked the vehicle where it couldn't leave. And then with the information they had, they made a quick run to the car and took him into custody without continuing on to a standoff. But you saw the suspect's hands come up into the windshield, so they could see what his hands were doing, and with probably prior information knew that he wasn't going to get much of a resistance once they took him into custody. CHP do what they do best at the end of these pursuits, is to take things under control and get them calmed down very quickly.
Yeah, we're seeing that happen right now live on the air. All right, well, with that said, we've been over this for almost an hour now. Tim Lynn, retired police officer, we want to thank you for your help tonight in this pursuit. And, of course, Alex and Christine, thank you so much for the handoff and all the work that you did.
Thank you. Glad to see that this ends without anybody on the freeway, at least.
Marla, have a good show.
Okay, you too. With that, we're going to bring you inside the studio here and officially welcome you to Good Night LA. Thanks for being with us tonight. We do begin now with our other big story today, what happened in Kansas City, which is that city is still reeling after a deadly shooting at the parade celebrating the Super Bowl champions. New details tonight on the woman who was killed. 21 others were injured, including 8 children.
No, we tackled him. We tackled him.
Yeah, new video tonight shows police taking a man into custody following that shooting. So far, 3 people have been detained as the investigation continues. Radio DJ Lisa Lopez Galvan, the woman on the right there, she was killed in this shooting. The mother of 2 went to the parade with her husband and adult son, who was also shot. And new tonight, a standoff leads to 2 Glendale schools being placed on lockdown. Skyfox over this scene. This unfolded on Dunsmore and Pennsylvania Avenues. Clark Magnet High School and Valley View Elementary School were temporarily